When it comes to Dynasty Fantasy Football, not everything's player good versus player bad, ranking this versus ranking that. It's very situational from league to league, from what I see versus what you see. Could be totally different in your draft. And I just want to talk about what I've been seeing and what I've been feeling in my rookie drafts lately so you can get a gauge of some of my process and maybe you can mimic it. Maybe you can just take it in as information or maybe just be entertained. But one thing I'm seeing in rookie drafts here is when it comes to Dalton Kincaid and Michael Mayer, I'm going the other way. I'm going running backs. I'm going with the wide receivers. I'm leaning into the fundamentals that tight ends take a little bit longer to develop, and the draft capital there should be going to the running backs and receivers. And on top of that, when I look at my teams here, I'm already good at tight end anyways. I'm already good there. And I always get into this mode where I get this collection of tight ends, and I have an equity portion of my roster here that just has too many of the tight end. And then I like these players. I think they're good. I think they can be okay, especially Kincaid. One of the things I'm like thinking here is like, I'm okay paying up if I whiff here. I'm okay doing this. I'm okay doing that when there's other positions of value here left on the board that I might be able to reap value later. I'm looking at Devin Achane, Kendra Miller, Zach Charbonnet, Zay Flowers. Of course, if they fall a little bit further, I'm looking at them. But at price, especially when I see them go at like 107, 106, I'm looking at Kincaid here in some recent drafts. When they start to go a little bit higher, I'm not into paying super high. I'm looking at get the tight end discount here. I want to get this at a discount when I know the odds are in favor of them taking a year or two for them to develop. And if they hit during their rookie season, then I'm going to chalk that up as being an outlier, and I'm not against paying up for that. Plus, I'm already good at tight end. I'm already good at them in like 90% of my leagues because this isn't year one for me. I've been trading for tight ends. I've been moving pieces around. Tight ends are pretty easy to get off the trade market when you're moving players around in deals. So I'm already good. Sometimes I'm good with two tight end ones already on my roster. I'm already solid there. And I got other players of good value here on the board in these ranges. So I don't feel like it's a bad idea. And then when I'm getting into the second round of rookie drafts here, things are getting a little bit different where I'm pivoting, where I'm going into at in certain positions. And I have Tajay Spears on some teams. I have drafted him. But I'm also holding put a little bit. One, Take Bigsby has been a riser for me. Maybe I'm just diversifying into more shares of him. I'm noticing the Jaguars offense here. I want more Trevor Lawrence. This is one way I can get into it at a cheap cost. I'm realizing more running backs are going to be in a timeshare situation. That is just going to be the norm. And we're going to have very few one-for-one scenarios where this running back is just going to be the lead dog. So I'm also catching him at a price point where I have him for 5 seasons. He only gives me 2 or 3 with very good productions. And the other ones, it's just spot production. I'm okay with. I'm fine with. Also, Rashawn Johnson's falling in some drafts. Sometimes he's high second, sometimes he's low second. I'm cool with that. I'm into Marvin Mims, Jaden Reed. Rashee Rice is also falling. It's nothing against Spears. I feel like I'm at my limit right now on him. I got some of him early. He fell in some drafts early on. He's starting to move up and down a little bit in some of my leagues. So I'm like okay with that. Rashee Rice coming into the draft. I was not a fan of him. Not a fan of older G5 prospects. But considering where he's going in rookie drafts, considering where he landed, fundamentals are breaking right now due to the landing spot here. So I am drafting him some. I'm not going over the moon. I'm not paying up for him. But he is falling to me where I'm able to draft him. So if you watched content from a few months ago, you may think I'm not drafting him. But I am diversifying with him a little bit among some of these wide receivers and running backs in the second round. And really, the Clyde Edwards-Helaire scenario is a lot better to look at when you're just paying a late second round. The Sky Moore scenario is a lot better to look at when you're paying a late second round, mid-second round pick. And if you look back at the ADP video I pumped out about 2 weeks ago, you'll notice some of these guys in the second are up and down. Another guy that's up and down is Josh Downs from the Colts. I love his prospect profile. I love the production. I love the tape. I love his highlights. However, I feel like I can catch him on the cheap later, and I feel like I can just go at other positions right now and try and get him in another trade later down the road in some of my leagues. I'm not looking at him in the middle of the second. I know he falls in some drafts. I've looked at enough leagues, and I know that he falls in the third, a little bit into the third, and I'm looking at those price points, and I'm trying to catch him at the lower point of the price points, and if it doesn't happen, then I'm all right. I know that, and maybe I can catch him cheaper than where he went later on in the league, and I'm also good at wide receiver in a lot of my leagues too. I'm stacked because I build around wide receiver. So when it comes to drafts, I don't need to chase them hoping that I get this wide receiver that hits, that fell to the third round, that's going into a situation where everything has to develop now and materialize. I don't have to worry about that. I can chase running back. I can be more fluid as well. Another wide receiver in the third round, fourth round that I'm not drafting. And I'm just not drafting. I don't hate him. I saw what he did at the Senior Bowl. That's Michael Wilson at the Arizona Cardinals. I keep pivoting away from him. One thing, I feel like there's a lot of ambiguity here at quarterback. DeAndre Hopkins is here. He ain't going to be there forever. He may not even be here tomorrow. Marquise Brown is there. Rondale Moore's there. Very clustered right now. But fundamentally, when I'm this part in the draft, I'm going heavy at running back. I'm going heavy at running back due to the attrition process throughout the season at the running back position. These mid to late round running backs could jump up in opportunity, give you spot production, could give you a spot rise in value so you can get a return on the investment quick. And we see this off and on throughout the year, every year. So I'm just drafting running backs. I'm drafting all the running backs. And the next thing I want to note on here is when it comes to these running backs, it's E for everybody. I don't care. I'm moving. I'm diversifying when it's Sean Tucker, Evan Hall, Keaton Mitchell, Deneric Prince, Kenny McIntosh, Tylen Evans. Name them. Just name them. I'm moving. I'm getting them. I'm drafting them. I don't care because I'm drafting on situation, and I know the situations are going to change in season, and I know injuries are going to make an impact. I know attrition is going to make an impact, and I'm just looking at these running backs in the fourth round, third round, fifth round, how deep these drafts are. UDFAs, I'm looking at them as lottery tickets, and I want them on the back end of my roster, my taxi squad, just in case attrition happens. Attrition can benefit a running back, whether it's 1 game, 2 games, 3 games, and I might be able to get an ROI. I might be able to draft a running back I drafted in the fifth and get a third rounder. I might be able to do something like that. So I'm playing that role with it like I did last year. Should not be a surprise with you. And I'm following those fundamentals. The other wide receivers here that are falling into the draft that are going third round, fourth round, I might just buy them later. I'm always active. I'm always doing trades. I don't have to get everybody now. I don't have to draft them all now, right now in my rookie draft. There's some players that I look at, I'm like, you know what? It might take a little bit. I might be able to trade for them a little bit cheaper later. Let's try that. Even at the same price, I'm all right. We'll figure it out later. I know I might be able to get a quicker rip right here on this guy here if this, and this happens. Also, another process here, I don't think I mentioned it, but Kayshon Boutte in a lot of leagues, third round. I'm just shooting for the upside. Also, a good drag on the portfolio, too, because if he doesn't hit, if he's out quick, if that ankle's just not right, you know what, I can cut bait, move on, but that upside's something I want. But that drag on the portfolio, though, allows me to pivot quicker, allows me to move on, because you're going to know if it's not quite right in a year or so from now, because he's a damn good player when he was healthy, and if he can't get back to snuff, the league's going to tell us pretty quickly. They're not going to let him hang around. It's either going to be all or nothing with him, because you're either going to come back to yourself, or you're not going to be yourself, and the league's going to snuff that out real quick. But those are some things I'm doing in my drafts here, that I'm seeing, that I'm noticing I'm doing. I might pivot to do something else later, because I do like to diversify. I do like to switch things up, and I do have some more drafts coming on. So if I see more things happening, or if I do some different stuff, I'll make sure to note it, be back with you guys. But let me know in the comments below who you're trying to get, who you're trying to draft, who did you draft, what values did you see in your rookie drafts, because everybody's league is different. I want to thank you for watching. Make sure you smash that subscribe button on the way out, and I'll catch you on the next video.